Hi everyone, today we have a new video review, and as you can see, this time we are going to talk about fresh release from Miniart, and of course it is molded in 1/35 scale. So here we get Sd.Kfz.234/2, but the main, I would say, point which is different from the previous versions is this Luchs turret. So it's a quite special version, and in 1/35 scale it should be an interesting thing to build. So that's why I decided to take a closer look, and of course what you will see in this video, it's the final shape of this release. Nothing will change, and you should be able to get exactly the same kit in Modelimex. For example, the kit number is written there, so it's 35416. We have quite beautiful box art here, and also here is the small sign that it's interior kit, which means that we also get all of the internals for this vehicle, and that might be even more sophisticated build in comparison with a typical armor model. So first of all, I have to know that the box size is rather large. Here you can see comparison with my hand. I already say that the box art is nice, but here on the side we have some safety devices and also address of the manufacturer. On the opposite side you'll find the small mention that we have the decals coming from cartograph and also two marking options. I guess the number of marking options is so small because there were few vehicles with such version of the turret, but feel free to write in the comment section because maybe you will know it better. So it's a top opening box, and here is what we have inside. As you can see, all parts are sealed into one plastic bag, and there are plenty of sprues, so it's quite a package, and the parts count should be also quite large, even though Miniart does not say anymore the precise number, but I mean, it's not difficult to figure it out that there are more than, I would say, 500 or even 1000. Okay, so now I'm just going to tear a bit the seal on this plastic bag. And while I'm doing this, you can check also other versions of this vehicle which were released before. I reviewed them all, so you can find all of the videos on the same YouTube channel which you are watching right now. And I really recommend to check them because there are also some simple versions as well as the interior versions which will provide you with a comparable set of features. So first of all, we are going to start with the small envelope which is dedicated to PE parts. So here we have unpainted PE fret, and I will just zoom in a bit. And as you can see, this is the typical golden color PE thread. We have parts for the external attachments. We also have some parts for the jerry cans here. We have also a reel here. I think it will not be used in today's version, but we will see. And also we have some minor parts for interior as far as I remember, but overall quality of these parts from Miniart is usually quite nice, so I don't think it will be different in this kit. Next, we continue with the clear plastic bag, which is dedicated to the transparent plastic sprue and also decals. So I'm going to cut through and we will check it in 1 second. Okay, so first of all, clear plastic sprue. Here it is. As you can see, we have all of the necessary transparent parts here, and I think the molding quality looks really great, but as usual, Miniart does not supply any masks here, so this kit is not an exclusion from this rule, so you will have to cut your own masks, unfortunately, and it will be very important for a nice paintwork on your model. I think in 1/35 scale it's noticeable, so definitely take some time and try to get the nice finish. As for the decals, as you can see, the decal sheet is not that big. As you remember, it is coming from cartograph, so printing quality is really good, but the two marking options do not require a lot of symbols, I guess. Next, we start with the first gray plastic sprue. So this one will be actually the new one as far as you can see. So I will place it like this, open the lenses and zoom out a bit. So now you can see that here we have parts for the new turret, and it means also some interior as well. And the turret itself should be assembled out of several panels. Here you can see, for example, the side panels. That's the top section, that's the frontal section, and we also have all of the hatches molded separately, which is quite important for the interior kit. And if I zoom in here, so you can see that the overall quality is really nice. We have a lot of minor elements copied out of the box, so it will require some I would say, time from you and you care to be able to install it in place. Here you can see also, by the way, the main gun parts. We have the frontal mask here, also the separate hatches. We have the machine gun here as well. And here you can see the side armor panels. It will be also interesting to do this so that we can check the interior details on this turret panels and here as well. So there are not that much of them, but that's because they will be, I mean, the interior items, they will be assembled or installed separately. So that's why there is not a lot of things pre-molded here. Next, we continue with another plastic sprue. So this one is dedicated to the drivetrain or to the engine parts. So here everything is even more interesting because, well, in 1/35 scale, the engine is something what is worth exposing on the finished model. So definitely think through if you will need it for your project. But now out of the box, you get a lot of features here in the Miniart kit. So definitely worth opening at least one hatch in order to show it on the finished model. Okay, next we continue with this sprue, which is dedicated mostly to the interior parts. So I will just zoom in a bit. You can see that we have some seats. We also have some Pioneer tools. And if I flip it over here, you can see that there are a lot of things which are detailed from both sides. And that's of course a welcome thing because, Miniart does not skip on the features and they actually copy all of the necessary things. Next, we continue with another, I would say, wide sprue. Maybe it's worth zooming in as much as we can and checking it closer just by sliding it through the table. So as you can see here, we have more of the Pioneer tools. Also some interior bits being placed here as well. And again, molding quality looks fine, so it's just a matter of combining all of these things together. And I think it will take some time because usually interior kits are a bit demanding on your skills level, so definitely think it through how you will be working on this model. And another plastic sprue, I think this type we already checked. Okay. So I will just move on to the next one, which is housing the armor panels for the lower hull section. So for this, we will need to zoom out a bit, so just give me a moment. And now you should be able to see what I'm talking about. So these are the hull sections. This is the floor panel with some pre-molded features, as you can see. We have separate hatches on the armor panels, which is also quite nice. We also have some guiding elements for the wheel fenders. And if I flip over these panels, here we have also some features, and even on this floor panel, which is really good, and I think it will be handy for some weathering ideas. And it should be also visible on the finished model, I hope. Next, we continue with another set of panels, but here we have mostly the external panels, as you can see. So again, separate hatches, and everything looks fine. Again, we have the features from both sides, and as long as you follow the assembly instructions, you should be fine with this stuff. Next, we have some interior bits. I'm just checking them closer. But as you can see here, we have two steering wheels. We also have some interior parts. And as I was saying, just because of such a huge amount of the various features inside, it's worth thinking through how to paint them one by one, because later it might be really difficult to get them. And we will see it further when we will be checking the assembly manual, because there it will be visible how they get covered one by one. And next we have the sprue with the stowage boxes. So for the stowage boxes, all of them are molded in a closed position. So in case you would like to open them, you will have to do some scratch building. Next, another plastic sprue with various radio equipment. This one obviously is going inside the vehicle. One more thing which I would like to show is the set of those 4 plastic sprues. So I will leave only one because they are similar, and here we have the plastic wheels. So I am usually saying that those are way better than the vinyl offering, but here, as you can see, we do not have the weight effect, so they are perfectly round. And maybe if you would like to have the weight effect, you will have to modify them with your own hands and tools, or maybe find some 3D printed accessories. But in my opinion, this is still a better option for the standard build in case you are fine with such stuff. And we have some pre-molded features on the tire walls. So if I bring closer one of the wheel sections, you can now see that we have the pre-molded tire naming and size on the tire wall, so it's quite fine. And if you wonder about the guiding elements, we have them on the opposite side. These are raised tabs, so it should be easy to combine them together. And because we are dealing here with a German vehicle, that's why we get whole 4 sprues dedicated to the suspension parts. It's a sprue DA, and here we have all of the necessary suspension elements. And as you can guess, there are a lot of separate arms, and also I can see the leaf springs, also the brake drums. So all of these items are here, and all of them will have to be assembled for each side, for each wheel axle. So it's quite a lot of things to attach to each other, and it will be a bit tedious considering that we have the full 4 sprues with those items. Next we have 3 plastic sprues with the jerry cans. Here I don't think we need anything extra to say, because as you can see, these are quite nice jerry cans, which should be combined with the P parts, as you remember, so you'll get a really good set of the items to place on your vehicle. Next we have also the hull section. This is actually the top panel, and as you can see, we have a lot of separate panels. So what you see here will be actually way more detailed after you add all of the separately molded things. And here inside, as you can see, we also have a lot of guiding elements for installing the interior bits, which are molded separately. And last but not the least is the sprue B, which is also quite large. So I will need to zoom out a bit, and now you can see that here we have some of the turret parts which will not be used, but we also have the interior bits, we have the spare wheel, we have also the wheel fenders here which are molded as a single piece part, the front bumper as a tube, also we have here some parts for the engine bulkhead, and also some of the drivetrain parts and Pioneer tools. So as I said, everything looks quite fine. It's just a matter of choosing which spare wheel you would like to have on your vehicle. And next we have the assembly manual. So here it is. Let's move the sticker a bit here to the side, close the lenses, and zoom out a bit. Okay, so as for the assembly manual, here on the first page you can see that again we have the mention that there are 2 marking options only. Next we continue with the parts map. As usual, Miniart does not show which parts are unused, so be careful, because here we have a lot of, I would say, pair parts which are actually suitable for different versions. Assembly process starts with the lower hull section, then gradually we move on to the interior. So that's why I was actually saying that it's important to plan your painting process in advance, because later it will be really difficult to reach these areas. And as you can see, a lot of things are actually going on straight on the first steps. So it's not like a simple kit which is only focusing on the external things. We have a lot of items going inside, and even some wiring is replicated. You saw it on the previous page. We should have it also on the engine, as far as I remember. Yes, here. So of course the metal wire should be supplied by you, but here we also do not have the length mentioned, so that's also something you should try to cut more or less precise way. And then we continue with the fuel tanks. We have the separate hatches, and those hatches, they can be assembled in open position. The same can be said about this engine bay. As you can see, we have the top hatches molded separately, and I think this is a really useful feature in order to expose what is inside. Next we continue with the suspension. So here is where the most interesting stuff begins, because as you remember, we have a lot of repeating parts, if we can say this way, so you will have to do the same task or the same operation several times. Next we continue with the additional armor panels. We have those hatches molded separately so you can open them. And then we have also the spare wheel choice, which I was mentioning before. And here you can see the jerry cans being placed on the hull. Then we continue. So antenna will be actually used, the PE one which we saw on the PE thread. And here we have some last steps. So road wheels, turret assembly, and then turret assembly. The whole assembled thing will have to be installed onto the chassis. But I saw something interesting here because we have the several options of the machine gun, of the main gun. So as you can see, for advanced models, you have some other options to assemble. Next, we have the colors chart. First Moroccan option here from Czechoslovakia, Spring 1945. As you can see, this is this green-yellow camouflage. I think that's the one which was on the box art, but we have another one in a winter version. So this one is not written from where, because it's the hypothetical winter camouflage for this vehicle. And as you can see, that might be also a good opportunity to play with a bit with the weathering in order to replicate the torn weathered winter camouflage. As for the whole kit, I think it's more of a choice for experienced modelers, because interior kits are definitely not a simple thing to assemble, but the final result is completely worth the time spent on it. And of course, it should be already available in Modelimex, and I will be happy to hear your opinion, so do not forget to write it here in the comment section below. And I will see you in the next video review as usual. Thank you for joining me today, and bye.